AI just killed 1 million developer jobs. Are you next? What if I told you that while you're watching this video, thousands of developers around the world are already being replaced, not by cheaper labor, not by outsourcing, but by lines of code written by artificial intelligence? This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. From Silicon Valley to Bangalore, from Berlin to Sao Paulo, companies are quietly cutting teams of programmers, analysts, and testers, replacing them with AI systems that work faster, cost nothing after setup, and never sleep. The headlines are sanitized. Efficiency improvements, AI integration, restructuring. But behind those polite words are lives being upended, careers erased overnight, dreams shattered in a single email. Take the story of Daniel, a mid-level software engineer in California. For years, he worked late nights debugging legacy systems, solving problems no one else could. Then, one Monday morning, his manager called him in. "Your role is no longer required. We've integrated an AI platform that automates your tasks." Just like that, 12 years of experience meant nothing. Daniel walked out carrying a cardboard box, replaced by a machine that never asks for a raise, never complains, never takes a vacation. And Daniel isn't alone. A report leaked last month estimated that nearly 1 million developer jobs have already been wiped out by AI tools. From GitHub Copilot writing full applications to ChatGPT generating production-level code in seconds. For every flashy demo that impresses the public, there are hundreds of unseen layoffs happening quietly, ruthlessly. But here's the terrifying part. This isn't the peak. It's just the beginning. Think about it. The very people who built the digital world, the coders and engineers who believed they were irreplaceable, are now watching their skills become obsolete. Universities still sell the dream of a safe career in tech, while AI dismantles that promise piece by piece. The question is no longer, will AI take over coding? The question is, who's next? Because if AI can replace developers, the builders of the digital age, what chance does any profession have? Stay with me, because in this video, I'm going to show you the hidden truth about how AI is reshaping the job market, the real stories behind the layoffs, the numbers no one is talking about, and most importantly, what you can do to survive the storm that's already here. This isn't just about jobs, it's about the future of human work itself. The first wave of AI-driven layoffs didn't make the evening news. It didn't come with headlines screaming about 1 million jobs gone overnight. Instead, it crept in silently, disguised as progress, efficiency, and innovation. In early 2023, tech companies across the globe were already under pressure. Stock prices were falling, investors demanded leaner budgets, and layoffs were cutting deep. But in the shadows, another strategy was unfolding: AI integration. Take the case of a mid-sized software firm in Texas. They had a team of 25 developers, handling everything from bug fixes to new feature development. Deadlines were always tight, and costs kept rising. Then the CTO introduced GitHub Copilot across the company. At first, it was marketed as an assistant. Developers welcomed it. It auto-completed code, generated snippets, even suggested fixes. Productivity surged. Management was thrilled. But within 6 months, 10 developers were let go. Why? Because Copilot, once a helper, had become a replacement. Instead of 3 programmers debugging a module, 1 engineer with Copilot could finish it in hours. And the scary part? The code quality was often higher. Stories like this began multiplying. Across Europe, banks quietly reduced their IT departments, claiming automation improvements. In Asia, outsourcing companies, once the giants of cheap coding labor, started hemorrhaging contracts. Clients no longer needed 200 engineers in India, when AI tools could replicate their work at a fraction of the cost. A leaked survey from a Fortune 500 tech giant revealed something chilling. 45% of their junior developer positions were no longer necessary after AI adoption. In plain terms, entry-level jobs, the very stepping stones into tech, were being erased before graduates could even land them. And it wasn't just juniors. Entire QA teams vanished, replaced by AI-driven testing systems that could simulate thousands of scenarios faster than human testers. Documentation teams shrank as ChatGPT-like models generated user manuals and API references automatically. Even project managers found themselves squeezed, as AI tools tracked progress, assigned tasks, and predicted delays more accurately than humans. Then came the layoffs that shook the industry. A global software consultancy announced in a closed-door meeting that it would be cutting nearly 8,000 positions worldwide. Not because of financial losses, but because AI has streamlined operations. The leaked slides from that meeting didn't mince words. 1 AI engineer is equivalent to 30 developers. For workers, it wasn't just a job loss. It was an identity crisis. Developers had always been told they were building the future. Suddenly, the future no longer needed them. Daniel's story, the engineer from California, was just one among thousands. In Germany, a young coder named Lucas had just graduated when his offer letter was revoked. The company bluntly told him, "We've automated your role before you even started." In Brazil, Mariana, a single mother who supported her family through freelance coding, saw her income vanish overnight as clients stopped hiring humans. Instead, they asked her to review AI-generated code for half the pay. Everywhere you looked, the same story echoed. AI wasn't helping developers, it was replacing them. But here's the irony. While millions of coders were losing their jobs, the companies adopting AI saw their profits surge. Wall Street celebrated, stockholders cheered, and executives gave speeches about innovation and the bright future of AI. Yet behind those polished words, something darker was happening. The very foundation of the tech industry, the belief that coding was a safe, future-proof career, was collapsing. Universities kept pushing students into computer science degrees, but the demand for human coders was shrinking faster than anyone could admit publicly. The number one question whispered in offices, in classrooms, in online forums wasn't, "How do I get better at coding?" anymore. It was, "Will there even be coding jobs left for us in 5 years?" The answer, for many, was already written. The storm truly broke when the giants moved. Small and mid-sized firms could be dismissed as early adopters or cost cutters. But when the biggest names in tech, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, began restructuring entire departments around AI, the world had to pay attention. In late 2023, whispers leaked from inside Google's engineering division. Entire teams of junior developers had been quietly reassigned, then phased out. A leaked memo bluntly stated, "With Gemini and other large models integrated into workflows, reliance on human development teams will decrease significantly." For decades, Google had been one of the most coveted employers for software engineers. Thousands of students dreamed of making it to Google. Now those same halls were filled with fear. A senior engineer confessed anonymously, "It feels like the AI is coding circles around us. We used to compete with each other for promotions. Now we're competing with a machine we can't beat." Microsoft followed. Publicly, they marketed Copilot as a partner, but internally the shift was ruthless. Job postings for entry-level developer roles plummeted. One recruiter admitted, "We no longer need to hire dozens of juniors when one experienced dev with Copilot can do their work." Amazon wasn't far behind. Their vast e-commerce empire ran on millions of lines of code. Maintaining it once required legions of engineers across continents. But when they integrated AI-driven monitoring and repair systems, the headcount dropped dramatically. A former employee described it this way, "We didn't get fired because the system broke. We got fired because the system stopped needing us." Even in finance, an industry that had long relied on human coders for trading systems and risk models, AI was rewriting the rules. JP Morgan quietly reduced its internal IT staff after deploying AI models to generate and test code for trading platforms. The irony? The very algorithms designed to predict market crashes were now predicting which employees to eliminate. By mid-2024, reports estimated that close to 1 million coding-related jobs had been erased globally. And while some optimists claim new roles were being created, AI trainers, prompt engineers, the numbers told a darker story. For every new AI-related role, dozens of traditional coding jobs disappeared. The psychological toll was brutal. Developers who once felt untouchable suddenly felt disposable. In Silicon Valley, entire meetups shifted from learning new frameworks to surviving the AI wave. Forums brimmed with despair. Should I quit coding entirely? Is my degree worthless now? What jobs are even safe anymore? But perhaps the most haunting stories came not from the West, but from outsourcing hubs. In India, the Philippines, and Eastern Europe, millions of programmers had built livelihoods on being the affordable labor for global corporations. That advantage evaporated almost overnight. Why pay 50 developers in Bangalore when a single AI can generate the same output in minutes? One outsourcing manager in Hyderabad confessed, "We lost contracts we thought would last a decade. Clients don't need us anymore. They have AI." Freelancers were hit hardest. Platforms like Upwork and Fiverr were once flooded with coding gigs. By 2024, many of those gigs had either vanished or been slashed in price. Clients no longer asked for "build me an app." They asked, "Run this AI code and just fix the errors." Human creativity was being reduced to cleanup duty for machines. And yet, as devastating as the numbers were, the response from corporations was disturbingly celebratory. Quarterly earnings reports bragged about AI efficiency gains. Executives stood on stages proclaiming a new era of productivity. Stock prices soared as payroll costs plummeted. Meanwhile, the human cost was invisible. Daniel, Lucas, Mariana, their stories rarely made the news. The headlines praised the technology, not the people it replaced. But beneath the corporate triumph, a dangerous question lingered. If AI could dismantle the coding profession, the very backbone of the digital age, what profession was truly safe? Teachers, doctors, lawyers, journalists? The truth was stark. If the builders of the future could be replaced, then so could anyone. And yet, a new kind of conversation was beginning. Developers who survived weren't asking, how do we compete with AI anymore? They were asking, how do we collaborate with it and stay valuable in a world where AI is everywhere? Because survival wasn't about fighting the tide. It was about learning to surf it. Not everyone disappeared quietly. Amid the chaos, a small group of developers found a way not just to survive, but to thrive. They didn't see AI as the enemy. They saw it as a weapon. Dangerous, yes, but one they could wield if they dared. Take Priya, a developer from Mumbai. She watched as half her colleagues were laid off within 3 months of Copilot's arrival. Fear was everywhere, but instead of waiting for her turn, Priya made a bold choice. She became the AI whisperer of her team. She studied every AI coding tool she could find, Copilot, ChatGPT, Codex, and began using them not as crutches, but as amplifiers. When her boss demanded faster delivery times, Priya was the only one who could deliver. She didn't just write code, she orchestrated AI to generate, test, and refine it, while she focused on strategy and architecture. Within 6 months, she wasn't just safe, she was promoted. Then there was Miguel in Mexico City. A self-taught coder, he had built a small freelancing career on platforms like Fiverr. When the wave of AI hit, his income collapsed. Clients no longer wanted him to build apps, they wanted him to fix AI-generated ones. At first, he resisted. "I'm not here to clean up a robot's mess," he told a friend. But bills don't wait. So Miguel pivoted. He branded himself as an AI debugging specialist. He even recorded short tutorials on YouTube showing how to turn broken AI code into production-ready software. His gigs skyrocketed. Ironically, AI created the demand for his new career. And then there was Sarah, a senior engineer in London. She faced the same threat as everyone else. Rumors of layoffs, managers whispering about restructuring. But Sarah saw the bigger picture. She began advising clients not just on writing code, but on integrating AI into their entire workflows. Soon she wasn't just a developer, she was a consultant. Companies paid her not to fight AI, but to help them harness it. Stories like Priya's, Miguel's, and Sarah's revealed a hard truth. The line between being replaced and being irreplaceable was razor thin. Those who clung to old ways vanished. Those who adapted, who learned to ride the storm, carved out new niches that AI couldn't fill. At least not yet. But make no mistake, the numbers were still grim. For every Priya that rose, there were 100 others who disappeared. For every Miguel who pivoted, thousands gave up. Adaptation was possible, but brutal. And the skills needed were shifting. No longer was it enough to know Java or write Python. Now survival meant mastering prompt engineering, system design, AI oversight, and creativity. It meant learning to ask better questions, to guide AI instead of being guided by it. In Silicon Valley, some startups even began hiring a new role: AI collaborator. Not a coder in the traditional sense, but someone who could translate human needs into AI instructions and transform AI outputs into usable products. It was coding, but without typing every line. The irony was clear. Developers weren't just fighting machines. They were evolving into something new. Half engineer, half conductor, orchestrating armies of algorithms like digital symphonies. And yet even these survivors lived with a constant shadow. Every time AI advanced, every time a new version dropped, they asked themselves, will this be the one that finally replaces me too? Because the storm wasn't ending. It was only gaining strength. By 2025, the problem had grown too large to hide. What began as silent layoffs in startups and tech firms had snowballed into a global reckoning. Governments, universities, and entire industries were being forced to confront the uncomfortable truth. AI wasn't just creating disruption, it was rewriting the social contract of work itself. In Washington, hearings were held where senators grilled CEOs from Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI. "How many jobs has your technology eliminated?" they demanded. The executives danced around the numbers, speaking in euphemisms: efficiency gains, new opportunities, upskilling initiatives. But leaked reports told the real story. Hundreds of thousands of developer jobs gone, millions more at risk. Meanwhile, universities faced their own crisis. For decades, computer science had been marketed as the golden ticket. Learn to code and you'll always have a job. That promise was now shattered. Enrollment in CS programs began to decline as students asked the haunting question: why spend 4 years and thousands of dollars learning something AI can already do better? Professors scrambled to adapt curricula, shifting focus from raw coding to AI ethics, system design, and human-AI collaboration. But for many students, it felt like rearranging chairs on a sinking ship. Across Europe, protests erupted. Laid-off IT workers marched with signs reading, "We built the future, now we're unemployed." In India, once the outsourcing capital of the world, cities like Bangalore saw massive unemployment spikes. The streets buzzed with anger as families who had depended on tech jobs for generations suddenly found themselves adrift. And yet, amidst the chaos, one truth kept echoing. The jobs weren't disappearing, they were transforming. The demand for pure coders was falling, but new demands were rising. AI trainers, prompt engineers, data ethicists, AI system overseers. The world didn't need an army of programmers anymore. It needed architects, strategists, and humans capable of directing machines. The problem? That transition was brutal. Retraining millions overnight was impossible, and most workers didn't have the resources, time, or guidance to pivot. For every Sarah who became a consultant, thousands of Daniels packed up their desks, replaced by algorithms that didn't even have names. Corporations continued to celebrate. Stocks soared. Shareholders cheered. The mantra was clear: AI is the future. But on the ground, among ordinary people, the mood was darker. If developers aren't safe, who is? Teachers feared AI tutors. Journalists feared AI writers. Doctors feared AI diagnostics. The ripple effects stretched far beyond Silicon Valley. Humanity itself was asking a terrifying question: what is our role in a world where machines can do everything we trained for? But here's the twist, the one most people don't see. This storm isn't just about loss. It's about rebirth. Every technological revolution in history, steam engines, electricity, the internet, destroyed jobs. But they also created new ones no one could imagine at the time. The difference now? The speed. What used to take decades now happens in months. And that speed is what makes this revolution so unforgiving. If you adapt, if you learn, if you evolve, you can ride the wave. But if you cling to the old world, the storm will swallow you whole. And that's the choice facing us all. Not just developers, not just coders. Every single one of us. So here we are. 1 million developer jobs already gone. Thousands of careers erased in silence. And the question is no longer if, it's when. When will your industry, your job, your skills face the same fate? Because if coders, the architects of the digital age, can be replaced, then no profession is untouchable. Not teaching, not medicine, not law, not finance. The storm is here and it does not discriminate. But here's the truth no one tells you. This is not the end. It's the test. Every generation has faced a revolution. Farmers faced machines. Factory workers faced automation. Now we face AI. And the ones who survive aren't the ones who complain, or deny, or cling to the past. The survivors are the ones who adapt, who learn, who evolve, who seize the very force threatening them and turn it into fuel. Ask yourself, will you be like Daniel, blindsided and discarded by a system that no longer needs him? Or will you be like Priya, Miguel, Sarah, the ones who bent with the storm, learned its language, and rose higher because of it? Because make no mistake, AI is not going away. You can't legislate it out of existence. You can't hide from it. You either ride the wave or you drown beneath it. And the choice is yours. Right here. Right now. This channel exists to give you the stories, the truths, the hidden warnings they don't want you to hear. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. To show you that even in the middle of chaos, there's a path forward. A way to not just survive, but thrive. So if you're ready to face reality, if you're ready to stop being a victim of the future and start becoming a builder of it, then hit subscribe right now. Because what comes next is bigger than jobs, bigger than tech, bigger than anything we've seen before. This isn't just about AI. This is about the future of human work, and whether you'll still have a place in it. The storm has already begun. The question is, when it hits your door, will you be ready?